Breakfast. I hope you like hard bagels.
But they're all moldy.
Well, just eat around it.
Wait, Andy, you can't keep me here. My whore wife will wonder what happened to me.
No, she won't.
No!
Don't worry, Dr. Arcoitus. I'll come back and read comics with you.
Go die, asshole!
All of these shitty remakes, is there a single gem? They did it right already. Kill the candle to them. Which any are we watching? Whose personality? One thing's for sure, good people. We got some movies to see. We got boots to read, stop ready to stop that shit. We got boots to read, stop ready to stop that shit.
Hello and welcome to Boots to ReBoots. Last November I watched Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, so this month I figured I'd go to the very beginning and take a look at Night of the Living Dead, which was remade in 1990. The 1968 Night of the Living Dead pretty much created the zombie we see in movies, television, video games, comics, and pornography today. Before Night of the Living Dead, zombie films usually involved voodoo, an island, and a doctor or scientist. Those zombies were more hypnotized slaves doing the bidding of their master. However, in 1968 they became undead flesh-eating ghouls. The 1954 novel, I Am Legend, heavily influenced the zombie genre with the concept of an apocalypse due to disease. The novel has been adapted many times, but most notably The Last Man on Earth in 1964 starring Vincent Price, The Omega Man in 1971 starring Charlton Heston, and I Am Legend in 2007 starring Will Smith. George Romero admits that the novel was a huge inspiration since the dead returning to life was supposed to be caused by some type of germ carried by a satellite returning from Venus.
That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation.
However, in the end, it's never explained why the dead are coming back to life. At one point, they were going to be aliens looking for human flesh, but it became more grounded in reality. This was a black and white horror film not involving aliens or gothic castles in Transylvania. Instead, the horror was now in your backyard. After Night of the Living Dead, horror could be found in your neighborhood, home, high school, summer camp, even your bed. Night of the Living Dead, or as fans call it, NOTLD,
Doodled?
was a very low-budget independent horror film made in Pittsburgh. The film was made for only $114,000 and grossed $12 million domestically. However, we'll probably never know exactly how much money the movie has made over the decades due to a copyright issue. In 1968, the copyright ownership had to be on the actual print of the film, usually in the credits. The original title was Night of the Flesh Eaters, however a film already existed with that title, so it was changed to Night of the Living Dead, but they forgot to include the updated copyright info on the print, putting it in the public domain. There have been hundreds of versions on VHS and DVD because anyone can distribute it. They lost money, but the film reached a very large audience due to the error. In 1990, George Romero and most of the original team decided to remake Night of the Living Dead. However, Romero passed directing duties over to well-known special makeup effects artist Tom Savini. It was fitting because Tom Savini was originally going to do the effects on the first Night of the Living Dead, but before filming began, he was sent to Vietnam and had to serve as a combat photographer. He later did the effects for Dawn and Day of the Dead, but after 20 years he was finally going to work on Night of the Living Dead. It would also be the first feature-length film he directed. How did he do? Let's take a look. Both films are pretty similar because the remake went with Romero's original vision. However, there are some important changes. We open with Barbara and her brother Johnny, played by Bill Moseley, driving to a cemetery. One change is that in the original it's their father's grave, and in the remake it's their mother's.
Hate it already.
They bicker back and forth because Johnny is being obnoxious, and we get the well-known line,
"They're coming to get you, Barbara."
They're horny, Barbara. They've been dead a long time.
A man, apparently drunk, approaches from the background and attacks the siblings. Turns out it's no drunk, but one of the flesh-eating ghouls. The remake won me over pretty quickly because you see the guy in the background and you think it's the zombie, but it really is some drunk.
Johnny!
I'm sorry.
Then the real zombie pops up from out of nowhere. You think you know what's going to happen, but the remake is clever and manipulates your expectations. You've been on this road before, and you think it turns right, but now it turns left.
Oh my god, the movie's in my brain.
A Bill Moseley sex doll gets its head bashed in and Barbara is attacked, crashing her car. Now, I'm not saying she wrecked the car because she's a woman. Barbara is then chased, if you can call that chasing, by zombies to a nearby farmhouse.
She has to fall on purpose just to keep the tension.
And thus a horror cliché was born where the girl being chased is always falling down so the killer can catch up. In the original, Barbara finds a corpse upstairs, but this is Tom Savini we're talking about, so they beefed this scene up in the remake. Instead, Barbara is attacked by the Uncle Reach zombie from the second floor and beats him back to death with a fire poker. The biggest change in the remake is Barbara herself. In the original, Barbara really doesn't do anything except sit on the couch in shock until the finale when she finally snaps out of it, tries to hold back the ghouls, but is dragged off by her undead brother. In the remake, Barbara is terrified at first, but transforms into a strong female character. Just look and compare the two. The original Barbara screams, falls down, and sits on a couch for an hour wearing a cheap wig. The new Barbara is shooting guns, killing zombies, taking charge, and,
Has red hair?
What? Oh, yeah. She's a redhead now. If you don't mind me, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. While Barbara is attacked by the Uncle Reach zombie, a truck approaches from outside and we meet Ben, played by Dwayne Jones in the original, and Tony Todd, better known as Candyman, in the remake. The Ben character is important because of the time period in which the film was made. The African American Civil Rights Movement was occurring in the 60s, and Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated the same year the original film came out. Many people think George Romero cast a black hero because of this, but apparently Ben was a colorless role in the script. George Romero cast Dwayne Jones simply because he was the best actor who auditioned. Although you can find a strong black character in a lot of Romero's movies. The Ben character arrives and tries to calm Barbara down. He even slaps her at one point, which probably shocked some audiences in 1968. He then takes care of the zombies, searches for supplies, develops a plan, and goes into survival mode by trying to board up the house. Ben tells Barbara he was at Beekman's diner when a truck crashed, hit a gas pump, and exploded. A nod to this description was actually included in the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Ben then reveals that he saw exactly how you're supposed to kill those things out there.
The only way to stop them, you gotta...
Break their sticks?
In the remake, Tony Todd gives a great performance and was perfectly cast, but the two Bens are too similar and there's no growth. Therefore, the two versions of Ben are evenly tied.
At least he does kick more ass.
This is the point in the film when the conflict goes from man versus zombies to man versus man. Turns out the abandoned farmhouse isn't so abandoned. The cellar door opens and we meet Tom, his girlfriend Judy, and the Cooper family, Harry, Helen, and their injured daughter, Sarah. Everyone seems pretty cool except for Harry Cooper, played by co-producer Carl Hardman in the original and Tom Towles in the remake. For the rest of the film, Cooper and Ben clash over leadership and the direction they should take. Cooper wants everyone to hide in the cellar, but Ben thinks the cellar is a death trap. Ben sees the cellar as a last resort, while Cooper sees it as the only safe place. Both films do a great job of portraying Cooper as a weasel. He refuses to help when others are in danger, and only acts when it improves his chances of survival.
I like him.
Tom Tolles was another wise casting decision, and he makes a good Cooper.
Even if he doesn't have that dirt spot on his head.
Those things are going to be at every window and door in this place. We've got to get down into the cellar.
The last 20 minutes of the remake is when the film really begins to differ from the original. In both versions, Ben, Tom, and Judy try to fill up the truck at the nearby gas pump, only for Judy and Tom to mess up and die in an explosion. Meanwhile, in the cellar, Helen is killed by their daughter Sarah. Turns out she had been bitten by a zombie. In the original, the daughter stabs the mom to death with a trowel. Nowadays, you associate zombies with biting and not stabbing, so this scene was updated with Sarah just biting Helen, although some blood does splash on a trowel as a wink to the fans.
What? Who's winking?
Upstairs, Ben is now locked outside, and while Barbara is grabbed by some zombies, Cooper wrestles the gun from her. Barbara lets Ben back inside, and now our main characters are literally trapped between the zombies and an armed Cooper. Sarah emerges and Ben goes to shoot Cooper's daughter, but Cooper shoots Ben.
No!
The two then get into an old-fashioned shootout and then wound each other. In the original, Cooper gets shot, eaten by his daughter, and Ben shoots zombie Cooper. But in the remake, Cooper hides in, the attic, and Ben tells Barbara to run for the hills. Ben then does the one thing he didn't want to do this entire time. He locks himself down in the cellar. While he slowly bleeds to death, he laughs hysterically when he sees the keys they needed for the gas pump. Barbara finds a bunch of rednecks and discovers the Johnny sex doll in the back of their truck. In the morning, she awakens to find the rednecks and bikers drinking beer and having fun with the zombies. Barbara then, questions who the real monsters are, man.
They're us. We're them, they're us.
Say what?
Nothing.
It should be noted that Russell Streiner, who plays Johnny in the original, makes a cameo as the sheriff.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Barbara returns to the farmhouse and they find Ben, who has turned. That's when the no-good son of a bitch Cooper shows up and Barbara can't believe it.
Came back. You came back.
I don't know if this is necessarily a happy ending, but it is less depressing than the original's ending. In the original, Ben is the only one left alive and he hides in the cellar. You think everything is going to be okay, but Ben is carelessly mistaken as a ghoul and shot in the head.
Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
Everyone dies, gets meat hooked, and dragged into a big fire. It's a ballsy ending, but the remake decides to go with something closer to Romero's initial ending and Barbara survives. It was nice to take a break from reviewing bad remakes and watch one of the better ones. To me, the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead is a success because it was made by filmmakers with a connection to the original, and people who love and respect that film. It wasn't remade by a studio looking to make a quick dollar. It takes itself seriously and doesn't introduce any silly or stupid elements. Savini did a pretty good job directing the picture, and obviously the special effects are 100 times better than the face paint and Bosco chocolate syrup used for blood in the original.
Herman?
The cast even includes horror movie regulars like Tony Todd, Bill Moseley, Tom Tolles, and William Butler. Overall, it's a solid update to the original that was a social commentary on civil rights in the Vietnam War, while the 1990 version could be a commentary on AIDS. The remake complements the original very well, and fans should definitely give it a watch if they haven't already. This has been Boots to Reboots. Thanks for... What the hell is that?
Andy, it's Dr. Coitus.
Jesus Christ, he became a zombie! And Jesus in real life became a zombie too.
Oh my god. Hang on, I got this. What?
I got this.
Dr. Adcoitus.
Ah, you shot me in my stab wound.
Serves you right for trying to escape. Here, I thought you had died and came back to life.
I need medical attention.
I'll go get the tweezers and rope.
Don't go anywhere.
Pulled something in my neck. Fuck.